Dan Bunting, Tony Flame, Matt Schranz. We're going to dive into all things coming during this operation. Guys, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be
Great
here.
to be here.
No. Dial it back down from an 11. All right.
It's Monday morning. You're asking a lot of us.
It is Monday.
Check out that enthusiasm. Oh, and having people's names wrong on screen? I guess that's what happens when you lay people off in the graphics department in spite of record revenue at Activision. Anyways, it's DJ Vaughn on the Wicca ones and twos, here to talk to you about the brand new season, insert buzzword for unidentified time period here, for Black Ops 4 called Operation Grand Heist, available on the superior platform, the PS4 only, because both Sony and Activision are spelled with $signs. I've calculated the appropriate amount of new content within an acceptable standard deviation to make up for the lack of any meaningful updates in our game for the past, month or so. Since we thought everybody needed a sequel to Battlefield Hardline, a game that everybody knew that they didn't want, we've made a new Cops and Robbers spinoff that doesn't cost a full $60 like the original. Instead, just shave about $10 off, because you'll need one of those season passes to get access to all of the content. Not only are there new things to play dress up in an FPS, like things that will make furries want to use up all of their COD points, mustaches that belong in porn movies in the 70s, and suits that are more colorful than Elton John's. There's also 2 new characters, and by new, of course, I mean ones from prior Treyarch games, with the Outrider specialist, because Zero wasn't enough of a hint that we wanted to do something with the least amount of effort possible, so that's why they both look so alike, with the Sparrow bow weapon that you can now hip fire just as well as being able to draw back the bow, which would be awesome for you PC players, and the Hawk equipment that is like a recon drone as a compromise for the VSAT that everybody's been yelling at me about putting in the game. In addition, there's the Cosmic Gorilla skin for the Blackout mode, and we chose this character because not only is there not much for zombies players in this particular update, but we also didn't want to add a character from a prior campaign in order to remind you that our game decided to forego a single player for chasing trends with the Battle Royale and Blackout as perfect symbolism. And of course, the Cosmic Gorilla skin is for Black Ops Pass owners only, that thing that people paid extra for to get the entirety of a game that's an anachronistic monetization practice in 2019. Also, with those people that have access to mom's credit card to help pay off my Vondergini, there's 2 new multiplayer maps, which we even phoned in during the reveal stream for these, so you know that they're just leftovers from the supposed 3-year life cycle, and we didn't put much effort into this one.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks.
That segment with Miles may have been pre-recorded.
First is Lockup, which is where Activision's executives should be for laying off tons of my colleagues in spite of record revenue. That looks like a generic Payday 2 map with a classic Treyarch open loft area around the B flag to discourage objective play, so that this way those 3 lanes turn into kills cheaper than what I get for subletting my summer home. I've done the market research. And then is Casino, which we might as well not beat around the bush in pretending what our game actually is, with how exorbitantly priced our blackjack shop's items are, with a monetization scheme that belongs in a free-to-play game, yet it's a full-price offering. And it would be cool to have a night map besides the one that's been in 3 Call of Duty games with firing range, yet this one takes place mostly indoors to negate that cool aspect. Thus, we're finally at the content quantity that other Call of Duty multiplayer games have at this point in their life cycle, only to be behind the 8 ball again once this operation is complete.
Not really sure why I didn't get the memo, but I mean, when it comes to holding down a bar, I'm your man.
There's also 3 new weapons, and of course, you already know that they aren't exactly new, but a fully auto Rampage shotgun that we ripped the gun stats from every modded controller's favorite breckie from Black Ops 3, and gun model right out of the only halfway decent one in the original Black Ops Spaz 12, and just stuck a drum magazine on it. A Switchblade X9 folding SMG that, let's say we found inspiration from the laptop gun in Perfect Dark, so that you don't get PTSD flashbacks of the FMG9s, considering what we've already put you through with the Akimbo Sogs, and a melee weapon that is a literal bag of money, which is something that Activision would only ever give away in the digital form of something that you could purchase with actual money. Have fun getting to tier 100 in a lesser duration than the previous operation, so you're more likely to lay out money to get through all 100 tiers of the contraband stream. Lastly, to fit with our outlaw theme, there's another new game mode, and you guessed it, not actually new, but One in the Chamber is returning, which is one of my favorites because it involves zeros and ones.
Are you sufficiently pumped?
I don't know. I'm steaming. There's steam coming off of me.
Then there's the Blackout mode that obviously is what I've been putting all of my energy into, which is obvious when you play the game. There's a new location in the lower right-hand portion of the map in the nothingness that was between Turbine and Factory, and of course by new, I mean Outlaw from Black Ops 3 or the Western skin of Standoff from Black Ops 2, because that fits our narrative better like misinterpreted data, along with an actual giant abyss that is buried also from Black Ops 2 zombies, and you know it's like an actual match of Blackout in this trailer with vehicles ruling the roost. Speaking of which, there are 3 new ones, including that muscle car straight from Miramar and PUBG, which can track nearby loot drops and stashes. And don't worry, you won't actually lose any money flying out of that car, it's just for show. A police SUV, since gas emissions isn't a big deal when the entire map looks like shit, that will have a sensor dart-esque radar detector. However, that comes at the downside of having to hear that annoying ass horn blaring just like you own the place. And finally, a PBR that isn't a shite beer the hipsters say they enjoy drinking, but a police boat that's slightly more fancy than a normal boat with a sun top for that type of minimal effort you come to expect from us here at Treyarch. These new additions should make the Hot Pursuit limited time mode last longer than the servers of the racing game of the same name. Additionally, for people that are still somehow playing our game after Apex Legends laid waste to our Twitch following, we're adding in the ability to prestige so that people stuck at level 80 can show off how much of a loser they are, but still somehow are cooler than me. Oh, and to ride the coattails of the original fad leaders, we're adding in parachute and wind trail customization to hot drop in style, and no, the OG wingsuit that I came in on during a prior live stream is for devs only.
I like following ghosts around, which is why I work so closely with Jason.
There we go.
Lastly, as zombies, and that's not just me saying, that's basically how it's been given the quality of the mode, there's a new gauntlet for Classified, that map that you could only get if you're one of the haves, or if you want to be one of the haves. We're going to sell it separately, of course, for PlayStation first, because somehow their money is better than anyone else's. Those daily callings that we promised on launch and only got around to recently will now also give you an additional daily contraband tier skip, and there's a new melee perk called the Ethereal Razor, but you'll have to wait until March if you Black Ops Pass owners want a new zombies experience, which we only have the artwork for in Ancient Evil, featuring the 4 characters that you don't give any shits about, but we paid for the likeness of those actors, so we're trying to get our money's worth here.
We are specifically going to Delphi. Delphi! What do you know about Delphi, Jason?
It's in Greece.
It is. Right. Plenty more facts like that coming up.
I don't know if it's the accent or anything, but it's actually pronounced Delphi, which should have been an even better fun fact. Also in March, according to our roadmap graphic that holds our feet to the fire to actually make updates for a game on a continuous basis, is a Shamrock and Awe event, because we can't come up with an original name for an occasion in March, as well as new modes and multiplayer like Bare Bones that people are getting their hopes up to be a specialist free mode, but we know our game better than our community, and specialists are here to stay. In addition, there will be new modes for Blackout, including hardcore that would basically make it become like PUBG itself. There will be a spring map update, completely skipping the winter season like much of the Midwest and East Coast, which they could have done this year. And for zombies, we're adding in features that should have been in the game on launch, like pausing and host migrations. But factions, which is something that was discussed during reveal, is nowhere to be found. Oopsie, guess it fell off our giant laundry list of shortcomings. Speaking of things we promised at launch and failed to deliver, League Play is finally going live on Thursday, February 21st, after the game has been out for more than 4 months and the CWL has already been started.
We've actually, for weapon balance, from how we look at it in the analytics and data, it's actually the best it's been in a game at this time in the past few months.
Now on to actual fixes for the game, and this is for all platforms now, except for PC that will probably have the patch delayed as per usual in spite of there being less barrier to entry. We're finally doing a weapons balance for multiplayer after ignoring people's feelings for my big black box of data. We're finally buffing most of the SMGs, not named Spitfire or SOG, by increasing the damage ranges on all except for the Cordite, which is still just a super soaker, so we reduced its overheat time with the operator mod since it's filled filled with water anyways. The Spitfire and Saw got their ranges reduced, especially the already been nerfed into Oblivion dual-wield operator mod, because pro players complain about these weapons and we're trying to pretend to placate them now that we've actually delivered some functionality to them. For ARs, they're also buffed across the board with less idle sway and range increases for all except for the SWAT, which is already too powerful because we wanted people to spend their COD points before the weapon unlock goes away, and the Maddox, which got nerfed with ADS in and movement speed decreases. Of course, the Titan LMG got yet another nerf to damage range and flinch mitigation, which makes it the 4th in a row, yet people will still complain about it just because it's easy for shitters to use. Also for PC only, the Hades crossbar operator mod is getting an accuracy nerf for an input device that doesn't seem like me trying to figure out what to do with women's nipples for the first time. Tactical rifles are all getting buffs, but the same goes for snipers because it's hard to balance skill shot weapons with such high health to make people not always feel insta-melted, but also give people that use those weapons a warm fuzzy when they actually hit their shots, or rather shots that are bad hit detection counts. Of course, since this is a Treyarch game after all, we had to buff the RK7 pistol, and we made fire damage less annoying with the MOG 12 now doing one big blast of heat instead of damage over time. Speaking of annoying stuff, Prophet's Seeker drone can now be destroyed with one bullet, as well as getting nerfed against cold-blooded. Additionally, Ajax's 9-bang can now be countered as you could change your stance, there's less screen flash, and the hands up don't shoot Michael Brown pose doesn't happen if you have tac mask equipped. More on perks as the fire resistance is moved from the tactical mask perk to flak jacket to make that perk not as useless as a condom with a hole in it, as well as a nerf to the range of the acoustic sensor, which will make the stim shot the only piece of gear that is viable and not frowned upon like armor. With this update, we're also trying to deliver on yet another reveal promise: devastating score streaks with buffs to the Lightning Strike, Sentry Gun, Drone Squad, Sniper's Nest, Mantis, Thresher, and Strike Team, as well as making sure that in hardcore, team kills with your score streaks don't count towards your kick count, so enjoy blowing up your camping little cum dumpster of a teammate.
Damage mitigation, not durability. Don't confuse the two.
Right. So we flattened.
So many people tweeting me.
We flattened the armor levels.
T minus 1 day until you tell me they're overpowered.
There's also blackout changes like buffs to LMGs against those pesky vehicles, so it's no longer like a twisted game of Mario Kart. The ability to swap attachments from a gun on the ground to the one that you're holding without having to do the song and dance that is stripping it all down like prom night, and less UI clutter with the quick equip menu for those using inferior input devices. Also, we've made some changes to armor. Again, this time buffing level 1 and 2 armor to have more damage mitigation, as well as making level 3 armor take less shards to repair, so get ready for the return of your favorite word. Dink, 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 dink. Oh, and for those that put this video in editing software to slow it down for the tease at the end, yes, we're probably adding the Mob of the Dead map, Alcatraz, into the vast ocean of absolutely fucking nothing at some point with a nighttime update, even though we passed over winter like emphasizing climate change.
Help.
Yeah, I need some help with that.
I got you.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know why the no clip's not working. Amateur hour up in here.
Wait, what? Even though we've added a specialist with this update, we might have to remove one soon because Booker T is suing Activision over the use of his comic book character G.I. Bro. That looks like Prophet because, of course, all black people in dreads, dressed in military garb, with a bandana around their forehead look alike. I mean, G.I. Bro is just a racist version of G.I. Joe, isn't it? I guess it comes as no surprise that people playing Call of Duty notice the similarities because, of course, the maturity level of people playing our game and those that like wrestling, aka a male soap opera with steroids, is exactly the same. Well, shit. I guess if they're going to have to settle this case in court, there's going to be a loss of money involved. Maybe we should be self-aware with the name Grand Heist and add supply drops into Black Ops 4, but this time, let's call them Blackjack Reserves to obfuscate the fact that they've been in the game ever since the initial Black Market update that came out after the glowing reviews had already been posted, so you wouldn't get backlash akin to an almost 50-year-old interview with John Wayne in Playboy magazine. Yeah, let's stuff cosmetic things in there and also weapons, but not the new weapons just yet. The Mastercraft variants, because you know how the saying goes, turn up the heat slowly with the frog that is our community being boiled alive without noticing that they're getting fucked in the ass from constant prize gouging with these microtransactions.
I think I've outlived my usefulness on this one.
Thanks, Hot Fuzz. Appreciate it.